Singapore state investor Temasek is set to undergo its first major restructuring in more than a decade. The group will be split into 3 investment entities from the 1st of April to help it navigate global trade tensions and shifting rules while testing a new generation of leaders. The move follows previous reports that said Temasek would be split into 3 units to boost returns. Metteo reports.
2002 marked the first year Temasek invested beyond Singapore, a move that kept it resilient through crises, epidemics and global shocks to grow its portfolio more than 5-fold since then. But things have changed. In a media briefing, Temasek CEO Dylan Pillay says threats to the global trade order, tougher investment rules and major tech disruptions means that the group's structure has to evolve. This to generate sustainable returns from its part of Singapore's reserves, which help fund the national budget.
There's never actually a perfect time to do any restructuring, but the world is changing and changing rapidly. The external environment is getting more complex. And so I think as we go forward into this decade, the rest of this decade and beyond, we need to actually make sure that our organizational structure is fit for this new environment we find ourselves in.
3 entities will be formed, each led by its own CEO. The first is Temasek Singapore, which will focus on growing local companies and help them compete globally. This makes up around 40% of its portfolio and will be headed by its current Chief Financial Officer, 49-year-old Peng Chin Yi, who will take on the role of President. Another unit is Temasek Global Investments, or TGI, which also accounts for about 40% of its holdings. This team will focus on overseas investments in areas like digitization, sustainability and consumer trends. TGI will be led by 56-year-old Najee Hamiye, who is head of Temasek's operations in Europe, Middle East and Africa. Rounding out the last 20% of its portfolio is Temasek Partnership Solutions. It will allocate capital into external funds and build closer ties with fund managers and investors. The entity will work with asset management firms like Saviora Holdings. For now, there will be an operating committee running this entity before it appoints its CEO next year. The committee will be led by Chia Song Hui, who is currently Deputy CEO of Temasek International and will be promoted to co-CEO. The leadership changes are part of an effort to groom the next generation of leaders who will guide the company over the next decade. They will be tested and prepared to take on top roles, with some rotated through different positions to gain exposure to the company's different functions.
The real opportunity for us is to put together that team that will lead Temasek in the future, and that means we must have people who are able to think globally. There must be that appreciation of multiculturalism and cross-cultural engagement. So I would look for leaders who have gone through a number of roles in Temasek and even before Temasek in previous careers, which position themselves to think globally but also to think multiculturally.
As part of this reorganization, the group will also bring in new talents, including those with backgrounds in strategy consulting and AI.
And one observer says this reorganization could help Temasek to react faster amid uncertainties, as it is likely to bring about more focused decision-making. It will also allow the group to have a better view of all the various investments they have.
It's going to be the same parent, but with 3 different business units, it's likely that they'll be able to make investment decisions in a more streamlined fashion, and they'll be able to react faster to any market events. And as we know, the world is very uncertain now, so having that nimbleness is probably going to be a very good asset.